WNBA. Let's go. Fast break, no fear, we play to win. Strength and power, let the game begin.
Welcome, everyone. You've reached Discussions from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I'm Grandma Mo.
And I'm Lisa DCT.
Okay, so we got through the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, and now on to the Final Four.
Final Four.
Yeah, and then we also have the expansion draft. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's Friday.
I'm watching some people, trying to predict who's going to take what. There's no way you know.
You don't know. I was interested I was watching Courtney Williams and Natisha Heidemann.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds to me like they're up for any kind of move.
Really?
Yeah, I was shocked.
Well, with all the people, I mean, I know I was watching, what was I watching? I watched a bunch of podcasts yesterday. And they were talking about, I forget who I was watching, but they had this lady that was an agent, like on the phone. And cool. It was Chinny, NECA's sister.
Oh,
saying her name right?
Shanae.
Yeah, Abumake. Yeah.
Fun story. When I started out in comedy, I always represented Connecticut Sun, and I wore her jersey, number 13, Shanae Abumake. And everybody, nobody said her name right.
No, it's hard to say. I can't say it now.
And I
just say NECA.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised she stopped. Did she get hurt or something?
I don't know why she stopped, but she's really good with the commentary.
Yeah, she is. She's very camera friendly, and she's funny and good personality and stuff. And her and Elle Duncan and who's the other woman?
That's what I say. The other lady.
She's from Tennessee. I could see her face and everything. I can't think of her name. Anyway, so she had her agent on, and she was talking about how the agents behind the scene right now, everything is very flustered and very.
Oh, I bet.
Everything's going. They're trying to get all these contracts in place now that the CBA is done. Now they've got to get all these players signed, and I would think you would have to have at least a direction before the expansion draft,
right?
Because you got to know, okay, what players do I want to keep here?
How many?
And then who do I protect?
Exactly.
So there's got to be like thousands of meetings with these agents and trying to get the players like, okay, we definitely want to keep. I mean, some are obvious. I mean, the Aces are going to keep A'ja Wilson.
Right.
New York is going to keep Stewie. But what happens with Jonquel Jones?
Yeah. What
happens with a player like oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. I hate this getting old stuff. She played for New York, number 44. She was out last year.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. She hurt her leg.
Yeah.
It's a hyphenated name too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we both know who we're talking about. But a player like her.
Oh my God.
I can't remember her name. Oh my God. Anyway, but a player like her, like, and then like looking at the Valkyries, like the Valkyries have only been together for a year.
Yeah, they're young. Yeah.
I'm really I'm pretty sure Veronica Burton is staying.
Right.
But like all these other players, and then they have, and then we haven't seen Josite play yet, and she was like a big star over in Europe, and she was their number one pick, and she's supposed to come this year, so you got to get her in place, and do you give? You have $7 million, which sounds like a lot, but when someone's making $1 million. Do you give 5 players $1 million and then split the rest of it with $2 million?
No, can't.
Well, you could.
This
300
What if something
3 divided
happens?
by 7? Well, almost. You could
Yeah,
almost do that because if you give 7 players 300,000, that's 21, that's 2,000,001. So you're 100,000 short. So you could do that. You could play all your starters $1,000,000 or just under that. If you paid them all like 900,000 and then you'd have enough to pay the other ones 300,000, which
yeah.
is great forever. I mean, I don't
Who
know.
do you who do you keep as a veteran when you have this pool of people coming
I
in?
know.
And that's the whole thing.
You know who impressed me and I found out she was a senior is Mayer on Duke. She
Yeah,
was good. And
very
I
good.
mean, I've seen Duke play, but she didn't catch my eye last time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she's good. She's a good point guard and she can score. She'll be really good in the pros.
That's that's going to be the problem is, these other veterans that they don't have positions necessarily. So they have to think outside the box and say, well, I may be going somewhere else this year
Yeah.
because now we have this, it's just too close together. Like you said, if they did it a little bit further apart and you knew who was going to be on your team, it must be chaos behind the scenes. I would
Oh, it's
love to
got to
be
be.
an agent. I would love to be an agent during all this because you can get some really good deals.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many players. It's like, and all of them are open to, like, I don't know if, like, you think about this max contract, and it's like, you're really putting a hamper. It's like football with quarterbacks.
Right.
Like, it's so stupid to pay your quarterback $50 million or $60 million. Like, you have all these other positions you need to pay for under that salary cap, and you really put
Yeah.
it's like, if I was a quarterback, I think I can live on 20 million. But they get all that beat your chest mail thing that they do. And it's just like, oh, I gotta be the highest paid player. Like, but you're hampering your team.
Right. You're not
You're not
getting the
gonna have
best
much of
of
a
the other.
team left.
Exactly. Exactly. Don't hog the pie. Just have a
Yeah,
good team.
I know.
That's what you
You would
want.
think
A well-balanced team, not
for a
one
long time too.
yeah, not one elite player, or you're going to be trading an awful lot, getting
Yeah.
rid of players. I know it should be very, very interesting in the
There should
next
be, hold on
bit.
a second. It's little down here. She said, Ma,
I was
come
wondering
get
if
me.
she was behind you. There she is.
There she
Hi,
is.
baby.
All
Oh,
right, here we go.
yeah.
Okay, she's all
Hi.
set now. She was down at my feet. So
That's
she was
okay.
like,
Oh,
Ma, come on.
the only other thing I wanted to say was you talked about the expansion draft Friday. That's on at 3:30. The games are on, I think UConn's at 7 or something like that, ESPN. But the Connecticut Sun sold for 300 million, and they're
Yeah.
moving back to Houston. Going to be the Houston Comets. And I can't believe that we are the basketball uh, capital of the world
For
with
women, yeah.
UConn, and you can't even keep a protein for
I
women.
know. I
It's
know.
craziness.
Well, if you look at like I was looking at this, I guess, with the number of teams that they have, with 12 teams, there's way too many teams concentrated on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think what they're thinking of is they're going to have to split it. So once it gets to, say, 16 teams, they'll have a East and a West.
Yeah.
And there's teams, it's just like, ooh. Like when I actually looked at that, I'm like, oh, wow. There's like, because you basically have Phoenix, LA, now the Valkyries. So they added a West Coast team with the Valkyries, and then Seattle.
Right.
And that's it. Like, am I missing somebody? So 4 of the 12 teams are on the West Coast.
Right.
So now you added Portland and you added and that was with the Valkyries. So now you added Portland. So there's another one.
Right.
Okay, now you got 5 out of, what will there be? 15. You got 5 out of 15. So well, that won't happen till next year. I mean, not
Right.
that I wanted to see anything leave Connecticut. I would hope, just move it to Hartford. But
Now,
Yeah.
there they go. Hey, what are you going to do? They started Houston Comets and back to that.
Yeah. Well, they
Just
should have
that.
just given Houston a team, but the Connecticut said we're going to
Great.
sell anyway.
Yeah, they were.
So it was probably, maybe they'll give, Connecticut or Boston or something in New England a team after they get to, after the Philly team happens. Maybe the next year they'll do one, they'll add another one in Connecticut. But you still, you have all these teams on the East. They're going to have to put, I would think they'd get one in Denver, in Colorado there somewhere. Because you have Northern, Southern California, you have Arizona, you have Vegas. I didn't even think of Vegas.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, maybe one in Colorado. And then you'd have to immediately go to the West Coast because there's nothing once you start going east till you get to like St. Louis or something.
Well, they'll definitely be growing the league out, as you know. I'm not
Yeah,
crying over the fact that they left Connecticut. It was going to happen.
yeah,
There's really nothing here for them right now. Right
yeah,
now. Not in
yeah,
where they were playing. Like you said, if they moved it to Boston, they had a shot. But who knows?
yeah.
You know?
Hopefully it'll happen, after they finish with the announced expansions. They'll give
Yes.
another, maybe not to the where they were playing in Connecticut, but maybe a
Right.
team that plays out of Hartford,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. We'll
because
see
that's
what
the only
happens.
place they have a stadium big enough, right? Because you don't have
Where
anything in New
Hartford,
Haven.
no, no,
No, I
there's
didn't
no
think
more
so.
New Haven Coliseum. Remember that back in the day? They knocked that
Yeah.
down.
Oh,
Yeah,
did
it would
they?
be Hartford and the or Boston. Boston would be better market for them. That's what I was saying. At least
Yeah.
if they move to Boston, they'd have better facilities, be a better market.
What about Providence?
They could do that. Hey, what happened with you? You lost your job? How the hell is that? We didn't even get you the job and they gave it to
No, they
somebody
hired
else.
someone. Yeah, they
That
hired someone.
sucks. The hell of a
Yeah, I
nerve.
actually wrote to her.
Yeah.
Colleen Mullen, they hired from University of Albany. And I looked her up and I wrote to her. I said, hey,
Ew,
good luck. Da, da, da. She wrote me back.
that's
She said her
awesome.
head's spinning.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Oh,
You should
it's
have
got to be
you,
chaos.
you should have said, do you need any assistant coaching, anything? Agents? What do you need? Oh
No,
no.
what I said to her, I said, "Look, I'm retired." I go, "If you need any free help from California, go. I'm
Good
here.
for you. Good for
Reach
you.
out.
You have the
I'll be happy to
connection.
watch tapes and that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
So we'll see. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter to me one way or other. She looks like she's pretty good. And
Yeah.
Albany actually, I was looking, Albany actually beat Rhode Island early in the year, or it was
There
last
you
year or
go.
something. So they probably had her on their radar because they hired her pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it was less
When
than,
you told me that, I was like, that was fast.
yeah. So they probably had her on there, and just said, "Hey, you want to come here?" And, who knows what the negotiations were like. But she looks like she's a good coach. They've had a good record at Albany. Um, I just don't want to see the program drop off.
Right.
I
And
mean,
I
I'm
was all
hoping they
for
can
you.
make the tournament every year, you
Of
know?
course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do. And I was hoping that you'd get in, but it didn't happen. Just
Oh,
like
they're not going to
Connecticut
hire
Sun
me.
didn't stay. One never knows. You don't know. I do want to say, did you see the Yukon men who I don't watch, but did you see the finish?
I saw the clip. Yeah. That was
The only
payback from
part
what,
that I
1990?
loved, the mother. Holy shit. I was like, because how do you not? Father's like, I don't know what the hell to do. People are jumping everywhere. That was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah,
I have,
that was a Clark Logos 3 that he shot.
yeah, I didn't watch
That
it.
was out
I
there.
watched it after the fact. One of my cousins called my mother and said, "Did you see that finish?" And we're like, we were watching the girls, and then he goes, "Oh my God." And so I saw
Yeah.
the clip and I was like, the only thing was the mom. I was like, oh my God, that was awesome.
Well, the whole sequence, because Duke had the ball.
Yeah.
And they were UConn was pressing, and they put, the guy tried to throw it over the two guys that were like doing the volleyball spot,
Yeah.
block. And he didn't get it over him. And it ended up in that guy's. And this is all in a matter of what, 6 seconds? like
Yeah,
or less. It was like, I mean, all he had to do was what is it? The men have 8-second backcourt, or is it 10?
I think it's 8. I believe it's 8.
He should have just dribbled the ball.
Yeah.
But you get in the heat of the moment and you're like start to even the guys freak out a little bit. But you're under that kind of pressure. It's like, oh, I got to get rid of the ball. I got to get it over half court. And they probably could have just stood there and dribbled and made him foul. But it
Made for a
happened.
hell of an ending.
It
That
did.
that and the coach with the ref.
I
was
saw.
like,
I didn't see, like. I didn't watch. I should see if I could
oh
find
my
the game
God,
somewhere and watch. Like what sequence and like.
that was the end of the game,
he-
so they couldn't give him a technical.
Oh, they couldn't. Oh,
And the ref actually went up to him, so he didn't go up to the ref. But yeah, no, he just kind of went. And
yeah. No,
hit
he
the
didn't
net.
touch him, but he almost headbutted him. Yeah. No, I
I
know.
was like,
I was like, oh, when
that's
did that
crazy.
happen?
I
Like, how
know.
did he not get ejected
No, I know,
for
because the
touching
game
the
was
ref?
over. He's like, aha, I'm sure he got a talking to, but I was like, Jesus, these games are crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It all
You know?
gets very tense at this,
Yeah,
at that level
at
and
this level.
at this time of the year. Yeah. It's all do
Yeah.
or die.
Well, that's
But
why.
that's what makes it, the fact that it's do or die. This is why I stopped watching the NBA. I used to watch the NBA when Dr. J and Larry
I did
Bird
too.
and Magic were playing and stuff and all those guys. And it was fun to watch then.
It
And
was.
like Michael Jordan just turned everything
Yeah.
because then everything became this 1-on-5 crap.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are teams like the Spurs apparently play team ball. But, the guys, it's all threes and dunks.
Yeah,
And
it's
it gets
not fun for me
and then
either.
they're not even playing hard. I've been saying since way back then they have too many games.
Yeah.
They can't go all out for 82 games.
That's what I forget who it was. He used to play on Chicago. He's a coach, but he was saying the same thing. He's
Oh,
finally
Steve Kerr?
yeah, Kerr is finally
Yeah, he's
saying
the Warriors coach.
yeah, he's like
I remember
there's
seeing
just
him play.
too many games. And I
Yeah, it
agree.
is. Human body, I don't care how great a shape you're in. Did I ever tell you about Calvin Murphy?
No.
Do you remember Calvin Murphy?
Yes,
He played for the
absolutely.
Houston Rockets. Well, I would go to these summer camps. I went to Carol
Yeah,
Blazejowski had one in
I
Connecticut,
used
and
to do
well,
those
one
too.
year, and it
Yeah.
was at Quinnipiac.
Hmm.
One year, Calvin Murphy was there, and so I was a counselor because I don't remember how old I was.
Oh, is he the one?
Sometime,
Maybe I did. Was he the one that you did free throws with or played
yes,
horse?
yes,
Yes, you did say that.
yeah.
God, what a fun story, though.
It was, it was funny because he came up to me. I was just shooting. He goes, "Hey, you shoot pretty good. Let's play horse."
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I go, Calvin, they list you at 5'9". I go, I'm 5'6".
You
And he
lied.
was maybe this much taller than me.
Yeah.
He wasn't no 5'9".
Yeah.
And he goes,
Yeah.
but I can tell you, he was in, did I tell you about the dribble sequence he did for the campers?
No. No.
So they've kind of put all the campers together and I'm standing on the sidelines and stuff. And Calvin gets the ball and it was full length in the gym. So he's over on this side and he throws the ball up off the rim, off the backboard. And then he dribbled at max 3 times and he dunked at the other end.
Wow.
And I was like, holy crap. Like
Yeah.
when you see a pro men's player up close, even a little one like him, it was like, oh boy, these guys are at another level. Like just but the thing that I was going to get to was I went into his office. It's like I just have clips. This is 40 years ago, more than
Right.
40 years ago. But I remember him sitting at this like near this desk and I walked in there with someone else. We were walking, I forget why. And I looked at his legs. You could see every single muscle in his leg, like even the little ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was shocking the condition he was in.
Yeah.
And this is like 1983 or something, or 82. And I was just like, oh my God. But it
Yeah.
was fun playing because he was just like, come on, I'll shoot your horse. I'll shoot left-handed. And I said, okay. And I beat him. And he goes, that was what led to that little thing he did. He goes, oh, we're rematching. I'm shooting right-handed.
Yeah.
Never happened, but it was just kind of fun. He was
Well,
he was
see
a
now,
fun guy.
and with the young, with him being smaller,
Hmm.
it reminds me of like Hidalgo, who's
Yes.
same
Yeah, that
thing,
same really fast, like Spud
like
Webb, and who was the other
all
guy?
over the place.
Yeah.
Muggsy, no,
Bugsy Mogs.
Muggsy
Muggsy
Bogues.
Bogues. Muggsy
Yeah,
Bogues. Him and Spud Webb. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they were
Just little
incredible.
scat bugs. Yeah.
Yes, she
Yeah.
played when UConn played Notre Dame. I was not impressed with UConn at all.
Yeah.
As I said to you off camera, I thought the first two games of that night were exactly the same almost to the score. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
come on, UConn, you're sucking. The first half sucked. But Hidalgo, Jesus, if she wasn't on every ball, no wonder why Gino was concerned about
Yeah.
her in particular.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's
Well,
good,
because she's throwing off your rhythm. That's what that
right?
does. And that's what UConn's defense normally does. It throws off rhythm. But they didn't press
They
like
did
they
not
normally do.
press.
And it was like, what are they doing here? And you know what? Quinn Blanca, I'm not going to even try and
Yeah,
say her
Blanca
last name. She was the one
Quinones.
that basically kept them afloat in the first quarter.
She was
She hit
fantastic.
those threes and stuff. And it was like, but then she kind of disappeared the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And then Sarah
Put didn't
Strong,
play really good.
yeah,
Sarah Strong wasn't really hitting any kind of three.
yeah.
Yeah. It was, I thought that was a poor showing for UConn. I
Yeah,
mean, they
well, I
won.
mean, they got pushed a little bit.
Yeah.
So, there's no team, and that's where you see a lot of people in like comments of stuff that I see, like, oh, UConn plays in a a conference, and
Yeah.
they're not pushed enough.
Right.
But they're still good enough that even if they're not pushed, they may even start out slow. Okay, they're not going to beat you by 30. They're just going to beat you by 15 or something.
Right. But you
Um,
want to see good play from them. Even Gina was annoyed. He's like,
Yeah.
what the
Well, they've
hell?
also been talking about the bat, like they brought in these new rims, both
They
places. I've seen them talking about it, brand new balls, and
they
they were
suck.
saying they bouncing like you bounce and it goes up to the ceiling.
You could
It's
hear
like,
it. You could
yeah,
hear it when it hits the rim. There
yeah,
was one, there was one finish where the ball went actually around like a toilet bowl and went
that wa-
down.
that was the
And then,
Duke game
and then
against
there was
LSU.
another one that it literally hung on the front of the rim.
Oh, it's
And
so,
then, did you see that? I'm like,
no,
who's
it
somebody
like stood there for like everyone's
gonna,
waiting for it to go one after the other. It was
I would have been like
I don't
that.
think I've ever seen that in all of my 63 years. I've never seen that.
Exactly. I've seen it in golf, where it hangs on the lip and
Hangs
goes
on
in,
the
but
edge of the
not
cup. Yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But
That
yeah,
was weird.
they were complaining about the rims.
Yeah. Well, it was all brand new stuff. And like
Yeah,
Gina was talking about that. And it's like, this isn't how basketball is played. It's like you shouldn't have brand new balls. I mean, you want new balls, but they've been used already,
right.
you know, and they were brand new. And I can remember playing on like those parquet floors like Boston Garden was.
Yeah,
I forget where I was playing when I was playing in college, and there were dead spots. And as a point guard, oh my God, that sucked.
yeah,
I'd go to dribble the ball and the ball didn't come back up. It was
yeah,
like, oh, what the hell just happened?
yeah. The ball
How am I
deflates.
supposed to? Oh, whenever I would see those, I think it was like Seton Hall. I want to say Seton Hall, but whenever I saw those parquet floors, I'm like, oh no, because they have these like little metal clips that hold the
Hold it in. Yeah,
sections together, and if you hit that right in that the ball hit that, it would like bounce off. I'm like, oh, I look like an idiot.
yeah. Even we were watching it, and my mother's like, "What is it? Why is it making that noise?" The rim. I said, "The rims are
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
brutal."
they're very clangy. And
And
that's why people were missing. It's like
yeah,
stuff that would normally go in. Like I think that is part of the reason why the 3-point shooting was bad. And that's what Gina was talking about. It was like,
yeah,
oh my God, everybody's shooting really poorly. Like, but
yeah. What ba Boing.
yeah,
Usually you'll catch a bounce, but nothing. I was like,
yeah,
wow, this is incredible. But then there was UCLA and Duke,
Hmm.
who did exactly what UConn did.
Yeah, you
That
know what's
that
funny? Blanca was for UConn to what Angela Dukelich was for UCLA.
exactly
She was the one keeping them together, but they had all these turnovers. I'm like, oh, this is how they
yeah,
lost to UConn.
right.
You know, in that first half, that's also how they lost to Texas. So for me, this Texas UCLA game coming up, if UCLA doesn't turn the ball over early, then I have them. But I would think by now they'd be like, okay. But I also think, I've been watching UCLA all year, every game they've played. I might have missed one or two, but I've watched every game. And there's times where it's almost like they're trying to not give the ball to Lauren Betts. They're trying to, because they know that's the team they were last year. Get the ball to Lauren, nobody can stop her, boom. But we've got to develop this outside game and we have to get these other players, which is true. But there's times where it's like, oh my God, she's wide open. Give her the damn ball. And and I feel like sometimes they go away from that. And I'm like, oh man, this is your bread and butter. You got to use it when it's there. You don't have
Exactly.
to force it like the times before they forced it. It's like, no, don't force it. But when she's got the defender pinned, give her the darn ball. And there's times where I'd be like, oh my God, throw the ball inside. Like,
Yeah.
and Betts has
I
definitely developed more. I saw
mhm.
her drive to the hoop from like the top of the key. I
Yeah.
was like, oh wow, she would have normally just passed the ball.
What I like is actually she's not flat. She reminds me in a totally different position, but emotionally like a Paige Beckers, where she just stays the same. You don't see
Yeah,
her get overly excited
yeah,
complaining about too many things. She just plays the game of basketball, and I like that.
yeah. No, she's got she went through some things earlier in her career that, there was an article about her with her, just, I mean, it can't be easy to be 6'7" and a woman, you
No,
know, and early on, it just, when you're in college, I remember going through it. You're like, your self-worth is, you're trying to figure all that out. And, but she seems to have come through on the other side of that stuff.
yeah,
And she's, I saw her interviewed on YouTube. Like, I think I was watching it earlier this morning or last night. And she was just like, I'm just me. And it is what it is. And so she seems to have gotten through that whole thing. And she goes, I just embrace it. And
yeah,
it
good
is
for
what it
her.
is.
Good for
And
her.
yeah, it is good for her. So, I just, after watching them, like, I like a lot of these teams. I like Rory Harmon and Madison Booker and, and I like this South Carolina. I mean, seeing South Carolina live was pretty nice the other night. We haven't even gotten into that
Yeah,
yet.
I know. I can't
Um,
wait to hear your experiences.
and, and I grew up in Connecticut, so I'm always a UConn fan. But it was like I really liked this group of UCLA players and how they've been, they're just in it for each other. They're all like best friends. They hang out all the time. They're all seniors. And, there's a part of me that's like, I just want to see them. They've worked so hard and they got so crushed last year. And they're good enough if they play well, if they don't blow, if they don't have a lull, they're
Right.
good enough to beat UConn.
They have to
And
have 4 quarters,
four
four
quarters and
good
everybody,
quarters.
but whoever's gonna, if someone is gonna beat UConn, that's gonna take it from any of these other teams. And but they just seem like a really good group, and I've
Yeah,
been really liking what I hear from Corey Close. And she's trying to learn from just but being at the Final Four for the first time last year, and it was deer in the headlights, and that's what made them lose
yeah,
because they were playing much better before that game.
yeah,
And they say that they were like, oh my God, they just weren't used to all the hoopla, and it took them out of their game. So I hear them talk a lot about just, okay, the main thing is the main thing. We're here for a business trip, and this is this is our job. This is what we got to do, and we got to focus.
I know that Gino was complaining about the time schedules for
Yeah,
the women being, that's crazy. Like
it sounds
6:30 is,
terrible.
and I'm like, that can't help.
No.
You know, media at this time, practice at a totally weird hour. I'd have to agree with him with that.
Oh yeah.
Something has to change.
Yeah. Well, they should have had like an alternate gym available for practice times. So then the teams could go at any, they'd have a much fuller or much more of an option of when they could
Exactly.
practice.
Kind of like
And
Unrivaled, where they have the practice court versus,
yeah,
because that's craziness.
having to get up at 6 and then, yeah, it's,
Do media and then do practice. No wonder
and
why
then
they're
do a thing
tired.
in the evening too. So you have both ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah,
That's
that
crazy.
I don't know
Craziness.
why you would schedule that. I mean, I could see doing like let them have the morning and then okay, maybe start at like 10 where practices start then,
Hmm.
and just have media in the evening. And he was even
Exactly.
saying it's just like, well, do you think anything happened between last night and breakfast this morning? Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
I didn't even realize that was going on until he addressed it. And I'm like, well,
I
I
know, I
agree
didn't
with
know
him.
either.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I totally agree with him. But, he's looking out for the players beyond this. Why they let it go like that, I have no idea. But something has to change as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Michigan and Texas was not a surprise to me. I felt bad
I
for
thought
Michigan, I
Michigan would
gotta
play
say.
better, but they're all young.
Yeah,
That was their deer in the headlights
yeah.
moment.
Eh, exactly. I
And it
agree.
happens. I mean, I
It
remember it
sure
happening to
does.
me. I was
Yeah,
like, we made it to the Atlantic 10 finals, and I was like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. Like,
yeah. Wow.
I remember that. So I know what that feels like. And it was
Yeah,
like, you just can't get your body to do what you want it to do. And
yeah.
your
They
head's
couldn't.
spinning, and it's like, oh my God, I forgot how to play. And
I know. They kind of broke down, and after a while, it was just. I felt bad. I really did because I
yeah,
wanted it to. You want the game to be fairly close. You don't want
yeah,
anything to run away.
right.
Booker was incredible. I
Yeah,
was laughing at Oldacre, who wanted no part of certain shots. They wanted her to throw up a 3-pointer at one point, and she's like, "No, you take it."
yeah,
I'm like, she's another one. Like she's there to play ball. I'm not here for the limelight. Cheer too much for me.
yeah,
Oh, but I
yeah,
I thought she was cute.
yeah. Well, that's going to be quite a matchup, her and Lauren Betts.
Yeah,
But if she comes off the bench, they have another person, but she's a bigger body than Lauren Betts is. So be interesting. And like I've been harping on Lauren Betts to just there's times early, especially she's been doing it lately, but earlier in the season she would almost try and force the move to the basket. I'm like, oh my God, you're 6'7", just turn around and shoot it. You have a little 3.3. No one's going to stop that.
right.
Like, just shoot it. Just be right there. Just shoot it. Just
Yeah,
over and over and over again. Get the ball in the post, turn around and shoot. Get around. Don't force it. Like she was doing that earlier in the season, but it's definitely gotten better as the season's gone on. I mean, I've seen her taking those shots from the foul line and, just inside the paint. So she's been doing that. So someone's in her ear.
yeah,
Um, but if she does that, she's on, because that's what Asia Wilson does.
right.
She just
Yep,
takes that little 5-footer
yep.
and she's fading away half the time.
Yeah, you can't
That
see.
was that game-winning shot that she had in the playoffs. Just a little 5-footer, like, and you're fading away. It's like, nobody can stop that.
No, that was iconic because there's 2.2 seconds left on the
Yeah,
clock. She's 22 over Delana Bonner and Alyssa Thomas. That's it.
yeah,
That's a moment, kind of like that UConn kid.
yeah,
Once in
yeah,
a lifetime shot.
yeah.
Really.
Magic moments, magic
Yes,
moments.
exactly.
So,
Still waiting for mine.
right. So I went to the game, because
Tell
Sacramento
me.
is Sacramento is it's a 4 hour and 42 minute, according to GPS, drive from where I live to Sacramento. So I decided to go.
Did you see my text? Get there safe. Did you get there
Yes.
safe?
No, I got there. It's a pretty easy drive. I live
Yeah.
in the boonies, so I didn't hit any traffic until I was getting into Sacramento, and that even then I thought it would be worse, but it wasn't. It was all the traffic was going out of Sacramento and I was going in. So that it wasn't bad at all. Anyway, so I got to the gym and never been there before. Very nice place. And I met up with my former coach. I told her I was going, and
Oh, neat.
yeah, my former track coach, and she put me in touch with a lady that was had graduated URI right before I got there. So I'd never met her before. Well, she was at the game, so she put me in touch with her, and I met her. There's this place called Tom's, which is it's like right across from the entrance to the to get into the basketball court.
Yeah.
And it's all part of the same complex. It's like a whole big complex. And this is where the Sacramento Kings play. The Golden One
Okay.
Center is where it
Yeah.
was. And so we went in, we were sitting there and it was like, wow, this is great. There were all these outside tables and you could see the entrance, like, was like, oh, there it is right there. And so they had all these TVs that were up. So that's how I caught the Michigan game. But I didn't really see much of it.
Right.
But I was like, oh boy, Michigan can't hit a shot. Like I noticed that they were just not making any shots in the beginning. And then Texas it was
Yeah.
like 22-9 or something, 30-9. It was over at that point. And I thought, well, Michigan has come back. They came back against Connecticut and lost
They
by
did.
3, and they came back against UCLA. But they were probably exhausted. And, you get to this time of the year, it's really hard to do that. So anyway, I when I was looking for seats, I was like, well, I want to be as close to center court as I could get. And I found a seat for $95. So it was $95. And I thought, okay, I can do that. And, I got in my seat. I was in an aisle seat. So I was not in the center section, but just to the side. But I was in the first seat. So it was really
Right.
close to the center. But it was a nice view of the game. I had, I texted you a picture. You might be able to.
You
add
had
it in.
camera view because that's what I said. And looking at
Yeah.
your picture versus what was on the screen, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah, the camera was probably maybe 10 rows in front of me. So I was because I would look, there's this big thing in the center of the court up, and it has like the players, score, their number, how many fouls they have, rebounds, all their stats are on the side of this thing. And then you have the big camera.
Right.
And the other thing I noticed is the MC was the same as the Valkyries. The lady that's the MC for the Valkyries game was the MC for this. So I thought,
That's cool.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And they did the Sephora drop thing, although they weren't Sephora things.
Oh, I
And
didn't
it
see it.
landed like right in right next to me. It was like, oh, here it comes. Look it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty close to where I was. Anyway, about 3 people over caught it from where I was. And that one of the things that I noticed was during the game, once again, TCU, just same thing was happening. TCU started out great. They actually took a lead on South Carolina, and then they just couldn't hit a shot. Marta Suarez, who had scored 33 points a game before, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah.
And then South Carolina was doing okay, but it was like, the game's going on, and it was still pretty close. In the third quarter, it was 5 points at halftime. And then at the end of the third quarter, I think it was 10. But it was still within reach for TCU. Right. But then Olivia Miles cramped up. Marta Suarez twisted her ankle, I think in the beginning of the third quarter. But the problem for TCU was they weren't playing as a team. It was all this 1-on-5. Suarez would get the ball and just dribble in, and try. And then a couple times she passed it. But it was like, you're not moving the ball. You're not making South Carolina work.
Yeah.
So in the third quarter, I'm looking up at the scoreboard and I'm like, wow, Tessa Johnson doesn't have a point. She didn't have a point. I think she might have taken 2 shots the whole game.
Yeah.
And then the fourth quarter hits, three,
Yeah.
and then
What were you
boom,
waiting on? Yeah.
then the game opened up.
Right.
And it was like, wow, Tessa Johnson hasn't scored at all.
Yeah.
And then they number 44, what's her name? She's a freshman. Dawn put her in. And I was like, well, who's this? Like I'd see nobody had talked about her at all. And I hardly noticed Raven Johnson. You know, she's one of their better players.
That
She
was
was
surprising. No,
she
I
was
know.
like she's out there running around, but you didn't notice her at all.
No, you
And
did not.
then Edwards, I looked up at the at the scoreboard and she had like 18 points. I'm like, wow, that was a quiet 18 points.
Yeah.
Like you didn't really notice her. She was just in getting some rebounds and stuff. And before you know it, she had 18 points. But it was like, I don't know, TCU it was just too much one. And, it was almost like their coach said, okay, Olivia, you just take the ball. And it was like, there was one play where their center got the ball and she was right under the basket and no one was there. She didn't even look to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
She immediately was passing the ball. I was like, oh my God, all she had to do was turn around and do this. And
Yeah.
I'm like, just no team, TCU, he seems to be, like I did some reading up on him, Mark Campbell, and he's a great recruiter, which is evident. I mean, look at the players he's bringing in every year.
Exactly.
But they're not playing as a team.
No.
They had Bibby, or is it Bibby? That's not correct. It's something like that.
You and
then
I were names.
Turner or Tucker, the other woman's name. They were a little bit involved, but like they should have been interacting. The 4 of them, Suarez, Bibi, I think it's Bibi, Turner, and Olivia Miles should have been, working the ball. And then they have 2 6'7" centers.
Yeah.
And he would never put them in at the same time. I'm like, well, you have an advantage there. Why not? Didn't do it.
Nope.
But South Carolina has big people too.
I mean, South Carolina, they won all the percentage.
Oh yeah,
of everything.
I looked at the end of the game on that thing, and TCU shot 33% from the floor.
Yeah,
and then South Carolina shot, I think, almost 50, and then they shot 60% from 3.
Yeah.
But that was mostly, they didn't take very many. That was mostly Tessa Johnson in the end, because she hit 3 of them, I think, in the fourth quarter. But there was a guy sitting next to me and we were kind of talking, and I said, yeah, I don't see either of these teams beating UConn. And UConn's going to have to play bad for them to win. But you never know. That's why you play the game. And could it happen? Sure, it could happen. I don't know. I think the Texas UCLA game is going to be a barn burner.
That's going to be fun. That is going to be a fun game to watch. That's actually I'm looking more forward to that than the UConn game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny because everybody's doubting UCLA, like everybody's doubting UCLA. And I think it comes from because they got beat by 34 points. But no one's doubting South Carolina, and they got beat by 24 in the championship game.
UCLA is just a quiet team. There's not any kind of, and every other team, well, UConn's not that flashy. Texas is. And so sometimes keep saying North Carolina, South Carolina with Raven, but she, as you said, was quiet as a mouse.
Yeah. Yeah, she was hardly noticeable. I'm watching the whole thing and I'm like, okay, where's Raven Johnson? And then it dawned on me in the third that Tessa hadn't gotten any points.
Right.
I'm like, both of them were just kind of running around there, but
so
I don't know how many points Raven.
You were at a game. It's been a while since you were at a game. What were your thoughts? Did you like?
I liked it. I mean, it was a huge effort for me. I mean, it was a 5-hour drive, and
I know.
I went and visited my mom because my mom lives in Sacramento, but it was a quick trip, and it was like,
Yeah,
and then
to do it all in one day that's tough.
yeah, I thought about staying, but I had to get back for my doggies and, but whew, boy, the drive home, nobody on the road. Monday
Yeah,
night at like 11 o'clock, I was just
you were
flying.
cruising. There she goes, cruising.
Yeah, I made it
Yeah,
home just before 1 a.m.
yeah, I
And
know. I'm glad you had a good experience, though. Glad you went.
yeah, it was fun. I mean, I've gone to the Final Four before, but that was, I went to the Final Four in New Orleans right before Katrina hit. I walked on those levees.
Oh
And I
shoot.
remember when I was there, so I was there the year before in 2004.
Yep.
And I'm walking on the levee, because I did some looking around and whatever. And I'm like, you could see standing there, you could see, okay, the water's here and the houses are down here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, that's
And then
not a
the
good game.
next year, Katrina hit.
Yeah.
And then I went to the one after that in 2005 in Atlanta. And Atlanta, everything is Peachtree something. I got lost. I never get lost. I got lost in that city. You have all these, it's like a wagon wheel. The center of Atlanta is like a wagon wheel, and you have all these like like spokes coming off the wagon wheel.
Yeah.
And they're one-way streets, and everything is Peachtree this or Peachtree that. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I could see where I needed to get to, but I couldn't get there because it was like
Yeah.
one-way streets. Like, oh, this is really frustrating.
Well, you
But I
probably
mean, it
didn't have
was fun.
GP.
The game was
You didn't
fun.
have GPS back then. You had to try to
No,
figure your shit out. Remember
no, it
maps?
was like, ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was. I was like, okay, how am I getting here? I can, because you could see it. You could see where you needed to get to, but you couldn't, like, the roads wouldn't take you there. It wasn't like, okay, just turn here, go up here, and turn left. And nope, couldn't, was like, where the hell am I? And then the streets are all
Yeah.
these different, they're all Peachtree something. So you
Yeah.
really had
It's
to pay
crazy.
attention to the last half of the Peachtree thing.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
my
oh, this is
God. That's
Peachtree
crazy.
Terrace, this is Peachtree Drive, this is Peachtree Avenue.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was
Yeah, that's
terrible.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So who you got coming up? Let's see who you got on.
I picked UConn and UCLA. I'm going to stick with that. I just think, the thing about UCLA is they're all seniors. And there is going to be, I don't think the deer in the headlights is going to hit them this year. I also know that Lauren Betts got hurt in the game they played Texas earlier. So even though as long as they don't do a big turnover thing, with the pressure, as long as they handle the pressure in the first half, then because in that game earlier in the year, UCLA they were down by 20 at halftime and they came all the way back to like
Yes.
4 points.
Yes.
And it was like, oh, okay. So as long as they don't let that happen, as long as they stay contained and they just play their solid game, I think they'll win. But if they let that happen, then Texas can certainly win.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick with UCLA
Yeah.
because
It's gonna be close, I think.
I think so too. Unless someone doesn't show up. If someone doesn't show up or they have a bad shooting night. I mean, if they do the same thing with these rims and the balls.
I know. Point. Hey, maybe they
You
were
know-
calling it. You remember the old Chads when you would vote?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
at basketball.
Chad. Yeah,
Um,
no. It's
uh,
and then I don't see you South Carolina beating UConn. But it could happen.
could
That's the
happen.
thing.
If they played shitty like they did the first half, I was yelling. I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, what the frig? You can't wait to the second half to play the game.
Yeah.
I'm used to that when the Connecticut Sun would play. It's like a different team showed up at the half. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the frig? Play the
Yeah.
whole, game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I got UConn and I'm going with Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Although if, it's gonna be close.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Texas is certainly playing the strongest, but they also had the easiest bracket.
They did.
UCLA, everybody was saying when the brackets came out, UCLA is the toughest bracket.
Yeah.
They had the toughest road to get to the Final Four.
You're right.
Um,
100%.
so that's the thing. It's like who did I mean UCLA to get to the Final Four had to play Duke. Texas had to play Michigan.
Right.
I mean Duke, even though they were a lower seed, I think they were a lower seed, weren't they?
They were,
Weren't they
yes.
three? Um, but Michigan wasn't ready for the
No,
opportunity. They're
I know. I
so
was
that was an
hoping
easier game for Texas.
it
So
it was.
you never know once because you have all these number ones coming together and anything can happen. But we'll see. We'll see.
The
I'm
thing,
still going to stick with UCLA. I'm
and
going UCLA the whole way.
it's a
Just
good
because
that's a good bet because only because they are so level. There's no superstar in the group, whereas Texas sometimes gets a
well
little
they
ahead of
rely on Madison
themselves.
Booker. They rely on
Yeah,
Madison Booker. If you shut
exactly.
Madison Booker down, you have a really good chance with
Yeah,
Texas.
or God forbid, like you said, she sat out the most of the fourth quarter. If something happens,
Yeah.
then you're in trouble. So it ought to be
Yeah.
an interesting game. I'm looking forward to both of them. Are you going to
Yeah.
watch the expansion draft? That's on TSN. I don't
I
even know if
can't,
I get
I'm
that.
sure someone will put it on YouTube or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm
So,
very interested in that. It's going to be, I want to see what players the Valkyries are going to lose, but
yeah.
the Valkyries are just, what keep hoping happens is that the Valkyries get Chloe Bibby back.
I know
Remember she
you
went
don't
to
want
Indiana? I
this.
would love to see Chloe Bibby back on the Valkyries
Yeah.
this coming year because they were, they had to kind of give her up, but she has that nice 3-point shot, and it's like, oh man, let her get some more playing time, and then Kayla Thornton will be healed up, so she'll be back. But who knows if they'll be on the Valkyries? Like, the only one I know for sure is Burton. From what you don't see that much. I don't know what it is with the Valkyries. You don't see much news
You
on
don't
them.
s- you don't see anything right now. Nobody's tipping off which direction. Like I said when we even started, for Courtney
Yeah.
Williams and Heidemann to be like, well, we could go anywhere, and so anybody's ready to.
Well, they're finally getting paid. I mean, everybody that's like 29, 30 years old, they still have some gas left in the tank. They're just like,
Yeah,
holy crap, I'm finally going to make some money.
yeah,
Like, I don't care where I play. Like, holy crap, I'm going to make at least $500,000. Like,
exactly.
you
Just
compare
tell
that
me
to the
where
men
to
and it's like
tell me where
still
to go, and
peanuts,
I'll
but
show up. Yeah, I know. Well,
yeah.
just tell me where. And I was like, I was surprised at that, but I get it. Just like you said, they're gonna
Yeah, it's
go
got to be
where.
tough for the people like Tina Charles. Like, what is she, like 35?
I don't. Do you think she's gonna come back? Why?
I don't know. I don't know. It's
I
tough,
wouldn't.
like Dewana Barner. I can't imagine but who knows? She's,
Or come back for the final year, Tina Charles in Connecticut, and then just say that's actually what I probably would do if I felt good.
yeah,
And you have, that's what I would do. I
yeah,
would come back for the final year.
yeah,
That
that
would
would
be
kind
my that would be my swan song. See ya.
yeah, 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 she probably will. I mean, she played in the Athletes Unlimited. She
Yeah.
was playing there.
She's such a
Um,
good player. She's
yeah,
such a good leader.
yeah,
She's experience.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
exactly the reason why she's able to teach younger players, and exactly the reason why URI should have picked you up because you were the leader they needed.
I just wanted them to like I don't know that much about the coach, but she
Keep in
seems pretty good.
touch. Yeah,
As long as they keep the thing going. Just keep
yeah,
the thing going. I just didn't want to see it drop off and hopefully, there'll be a tournament regular,
yeah.
turn the Atlantic 10 into one of these better conferences. Because that's the only way it happens. You got to get coaches to stay and you got to get kids to come.
Right.
And
Exactly.
hopefully they will. And there's a lot of kids in the transfer like portal. Well, not officially, but there's a lot of, hey, come here and be a star.
Right.
come here and be we made the tournament last year. Let's go get a win, you know?
It's like even there's a guy player, he's like 7'9" or something like that. I think these kids jump too soon. It's stay in school a little bit, get the
Yeah.
experience behind you. Don't be so rushed to,
Well, they want to make all that money. But see,
yeah,
now in
but
college with the NIL stuff, they don't have to.
exactly.
And it would really benefit the men's game to make that one and done thing go away.
Right.
Like, don't like let them leave in their junior year. Like, you got to play at least 2 years
Yes,
and then you
I
can go.
agree. I agree.
Because there's no continuity for the men's game. You don't even know the guys that are playing because
Exactly.
all the really good ones leave for the NBA. I wonder like, how is there even spots for the guys? Like, what is there, 250 Division One schools? Like,
Yeah.
how do you there's only so many NBA spots. Like, how do
And
you, but then they have the G League and they have all these other stuff where they could still make money.
exactly. They're
Yeah.
not they're not given they're not given a spot. They have a worse chance of getting a a shot at an NBA career, I think. So don't leave early. Get your experience
Yeah.
and let it
Get
play
a
out.
degree. But they all think they can make it. So, how many NBA guys are poor
Stupid.
living
And
under a bridge?
nowadays, exactly, that were heroes when we watched them play, and now they can't even afford, you
I
know.
know, because
So
they
yeah,
blow
don't
it.
do that. Stay in school, kids. You got they got the best of both worlds
I
now.
know.
You can make
You get a
money
free
in
place to
school.
live. You get to hang with your friends, take some classes, even if you don't want to. Just take
Yeah,
some classes, learn something, you know,
exactly.
and
You
play
know,
basketball or
you will
whatever
get,
sport you're playing.
we've always said you will get old. It's going to happen. You're going to
Yeah.
need something to fall back on no matter what. So you
Yeah.
might as well get that education while you're in school. Take
Yeah.
business courses. You'll need it, you know?
Yeah.
Anywho, we'll touch base again once all this fun stuff happens on Friday.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
What do you want to do, Monday or Tuesday? Because the
It's up
men will
to
be
you.
done by. I don't know if you're going to watch the men. I may catch the championship game. If UConn's in it, I probably will.
Yeah.
Um, but if I can see it. But yeah, we can do
Yeah, that's fun.
Tuesday or we can do Monday.
Yeah. Well, I blew this week because I honestly did not think you were going to be ready. I'm like, there is no way in hell she's going to drive all the way back for 5 hours and want to do the next day. And here you're like,
Yes,
where the hell are you? I'm like,
I,
oh, Jesus.
that's fine. Well, you know
I,
what happened at 1 a.m. I just went clunk,
yeah. I'm like, she's
and
going
I
to
was
be like,
out till 8.
uh, I thought you were going to say, oh, I'm exhausted. I can't do it. And I'm like, I'm not even going to plan on it. Let the poor kid sleep. And then you're like,
Yeah,
where the hell are you at? I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, I won't do that again to you. So you want to do Tuesday? You said?
Tuesday
Yeah.
will be good. Then we can incorporate the men's too.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll see you on Tuesday.